Let's make some clay cupcakes inspired by pop art. Pop art was a style that emerged in the 1950s and flourished in the 60s. This art style was based on modern popular culture, so things like mass media, things from advertising, comic books, mass-produced items, and food like we're going to be looking at. We're going to start out with 2 balls of clay, and we're going to be using a pinch pot method. So we're going to be pushing in with our thumbs, pinching, turning around in our fingers. When it kind of makes a little bowl-like shape, you're going to set it into your silicone cupcake mold. The cupcake mold has ridges on the side that's going to give it that look of like the little cupcake wrapper on the bottom of our cupcake. So just keep pinching and turning around in the mold and pressing it into those grooves of the side of the mold. Once it feels like it is pretty smoothed out, you can use one finger into some water and then smooth out any little cracks that may have appeared in the clay, anything that looks like it needs to be smoothed out. Just a little bit of water and that will smooth over those cracks. Once it looks nice and smooth and your top edge is nice, you can just peel away that silicone mold. So it'll just kind of peel out like that. And you can set that one aside for right now. That's the base of your cupcake. For the top of your cupcake, you can again make a little pinch pot shape. Thumbs in to open it up. Press and turn around. You don't want to just keep pressing in one spot, or you'll have thick and thin sides, so just keep turning it in your hands. And you're going to aim to make a shape that will fit right on top of that base. So you want to keep it about the same size as your base. You can check it, see how you're doing. You don't want to go too wide or it won't sit nice on the bottom of your container. We're going to leave the top and bottom disconnected, so it'll be like a little container that you could open up. The top of the cupcake will be the lid, and the bottom you could keep little things in. Same way, you can dip one finger into some water to smooth out any imperfections in the clay, any cracks or things that need to be smoothed out. This fits pretty well, so now I'm going to start on my decorations for my cupcake. I'm going to take some clay and roll it up into a ball and make a little cherry for the top of my cupcake. You could come up with all kinds of ideas. You could have frosting, sprinkles, maybe a strawberry, maybe flowers, whatever you want to put on top of your cupcake. I'm going to roll a little tiny coil to be a stem for the cherry. If you do this, you can use some slip. Slip is liquidy clay that kind of works like glue, and it will make a nice connection from that stem to the cherry. You still have to be really careful with it. It's very fragile, so if you bump into it, chances are that little stem was going to pop right off of there. So you have to be careful. I'm going to use slip again on the bottom to connect it to the top of my clay. You'll notice I'm giving it little twists too. That's just to help with that connection, to make sure it stays on the clay. While the clay is wet, it feels like it's stuck on there good, but if you don't join it with the slip, it's probably going to just fall off when it dries. I'm going to make a few little sprinkles to add to my cupcake also, so I just rolled out some little shapes. Use the slip like glue. Like I said, you don't have to decorate your cupcake this way. You could come up with your own design. Maybe it's for a birthday and you make a little birthday candle in it, or some other kind of decorations. Use your imagination. Once it's all decorated, check it over, see if there's any place that you need to smooth out before you put it away. If there is, you know that trick about using one finger in the water and smoothing it out. Before you put it out to dry, you're going to stamp your initials on both parts, on the inside of the lid and on the bottom. So I have these little stampers that have the letters. You can put your initials in the top and the bottom so that if they get separated in the firing process, that we know which are yours when you get them back. On the bottom, I'm going to try not to press too hard. I don't want to poke through the base of my clay, just enough to get the letter to show up there. And then it will be ready to dry. These are going to get fired, and then we'll be able to glaze them. And then they'll get fired again, and then we'll have our beautiful finished product. Here are some other examples. You could use coils around the top to make it look like a dollop of frosting. Other fruit, different glazes are going to make your cupcake look like different flavors. So can't wait for that part.